Back to doing the kind of work that I really, really love, covering the artistic design and technical side of creating bodies of water that are either decorative or recreational.
Gentlemen, we are back with the Ask the Masters group, and it is my distinct honor today to bring to you somebody that is an icon in the industry. He's been around for a long, long time, working from Pool and Spa News to Watershape magazines, Aqua, back at Watershape magazine, and has a prolific writer of multiple books, including editing and helping with some of the industry standards in books. He is the most well-written, most well-spoken gentleman that I know, Mr. Eric Herman.
Oh gosh, Randy, I am all aflutter with that lovely introduction. Thank you, sir. It's great to be with you. Good to be with everybody else that might be listening. So what should we talk about?
You know, Eric, you have many more stories than we're going to have time to record today.
Oh, that's for sure.
So, yeah, I think we're going to go in and talk about one of your favorite subjects that is close and near to your heart. You've got this new job starting, and give me where Mr. Eric Herman is within the industry today, and a quick overview of that.
Well, as you mentioned, I am back with Watershapes. Used to be Watershapes magazine, and it's now watershapes.com, which is a digital online resource. There's a question about whether you can still call it a magazine or not, but we're kind of getting away from that. And it's an online resource. It's a vast repository of almost 4,000 articles from the years when the magazine was in print and then the years when it has just been a digital resource. So I'm back in charge of that, stepping into the huge shoes left by my friend and mentor and all-around great guy, Jim McCloskey, who is transitioning into retirement. And as some may have heard, Watershapes, the online resource, was recently or last year purchased by Watershape University, which of course is an educational organization provider in the industry. And so there was a lot of synergies there. They bought the magazine and with Jim going into retirement, they asked me to step into it because logical choice. I was editor of Watershapes for 12 years when it was in print. And then when it went out of print in the recession in 2011, I left and joined Aqua magazine as their senior editor for going on 9 years. It was with the folks at Aqua. And had a great time there, wonderful experience, great people. Shout out to my friends at Aqua. I miss you, love you. But now I'm with the folks at Watershapes University, working with Jim on the transition, and back to doing the kind of work that I really, really love, covering the artistic design and technical side of creating bodies of water that are either decorative or recreational. And you know, it's work I did for a long, long time, and it was some of the stuff I'm the most proud of was those years with Watershapes, and I'm hoping to recapture that.
Well, you
so
know,
that's
Eric,
where I am in the industry. Been wandering around, and I come back home.
I like it. And, you know, you were historically during your stay at Watershapes, you had your own unique little niche. And you actually, while you were a technical writer, I think for Pool and Spa News and maybe for Aqua, you really focused on the backyard dream, the outdoor living space, and featuring individuals who were making those dreams come true. So do you see that in your future now that you're back at Watershapes?
Well, that's really the heart of it. I love the fact that this industry is, the watershape industry, which I'd include pool spas, fountains, landscape architecture, ponds, the whole genre of water in the human environment. That whole activity is focused largely on making people happy. This is about making people feel good, to be healthy, to be relaxed, to be excited, to be together, to grow in the presence of water. And that's what this industry brings. And so that side of it, I certainly want to reflect in the work that we're doing now and in the future of Watershapes. And I do want to point out that there are editions of Watershapes that come out twice a month, and it's free. If you're on the email list, it comes, and there's compendium of articles, new ones and some old ones, and some blogs and columns and a whole bunch of stuff that I think, is like a little gift that can arrive in your email box. So yes, I am blatantly promoting it, but yeah, it's a really worthwhile thing because and don't get me wrong, when we talk about the artistic side and the emotional side and the experiential side, that's a big part of it. But the technical side is equally important, because without the underpinning of knowing how to build stuff and design stuff, engineer it, service it, all the daydreaming in the world isn't worth very much. So it's a real yin and a yang kind of thing. We've always focused on the construction side in Watershapes, that process of creation, because that is integral to the result. And so we look at it from a variety of angles, but the whole idea is to elevate, celebrate, and expose this wonderful world of water shaping, which I view as an art form, as well as a craft and a technical discipline. So yes, is the answer to your question.
So let's grind down a little bit more on the technical aspect, and I'll tell you why I want to do that. It's because you are now a sister company, or have a direct relationship with Watershape University, and of course, Watershape University does a lot of incredible, technically difficult stuff. So is that, while that has been something in the past you've done, how will that help you, moving forward as being a partner with Watershape University?
Well, we certainly want to harmonize our content with their education, and a lot of it is technical in nature. And through the university, I'm working with some of the, some really gifted people on that side of it. Dave Peterson and Bill Drakeley are really accomplished, and it's because they are highly technical people. And I have written a lot of technical articles over the years, and we're going to continue to do so with some of the instructors, and we'll be covering topics that might be covered in courses, and then there'll be points where it's not exactly the same. But having those kind of people in the loop when you're generating editorial content is a huge asset. And so I'm going to, feed off of the content of the education to populate Watershapes with, I hopefully really useful stuff.
Yeah, and to expound upon that a little bit, not only are we talking like Dave Peterson, Bill Drakeley, but we're talking about a whole host of other characters in the cast there that are major influencers within the industry. And I know we wouldn't be able to name everybody here real quick, but let me take a quick attempt at it so you don't have to try. I mean, we've got the world famous Mikey Nance and his artistic skills over there in the
Nance.
Yeah, the dean of culture, and then of
Dean
course,
of culture. And let's stop on that for a second. What a great title that is, huh? Dean of culture.
Wow.
That's
the likes of guys like Rick Chafee and his technical aspects and acrylic panel expertise, Dave Penton with his hydraulics and the way he does. And I know I'm going to miss a bunch of people here, but right on down the line of just endless amounts. Paolo Benedetti on some of the technical code writing stuff. A bit of the same cast of characters that used to be in the old Watershapes, but I think we've got a whole new realm of these people that are migrating up and are ready to take the reins from this, let's say, older aging crowd within the industry.
Well, there is a generational change that's going on. There are a lot of young people coming into the fold, which is really exciting. In terms of the group of people that you're talking about, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of people that we've been working with for more than 20 years. Mike Nance was on the cover of the second issue of Watershapes, ever, placing a big boulder in a pond. And, one of the really gratifying aspects of the work that I do and have done is these long-term relationships with really, really wonderful people. Yeah, and Watershapes University has kind of an all-star cast of instructors, and there's the familiar names, and there's a bunch of new folks coming into the fold as well. So that development of the people that contribute to a publication and contribute to an educational program is really the essence of how these things become kind of a family. People have shared interests, they want to share information, they go to events together, they have dinners together, they sit in classes together, they become friends and oftentimes travel. So, to a large extent, this whole thing is really personal in nature. I know it is for me. Always has been.
So I want to move away from, I think we did a great job doing this, and talk about the other accomplishments you've had as a writer in your life. And, I haven't counted each and every one of them, but I'm aware of, hundreds of books that you've either written or you've edited, or let's call it wordsmithed, all the way through, those books. You actually, for Varick Studios over here, have written scripts for us for major manufacturers before, and you're an unbelievable script writer, which I think is an aspect of things that people don't recognize, that you can write actual motivational scripts. So where is that portion of Eric Herman's life gone? Are you going to continue doing writing, editing, and script writing?
Well, it's all I do. I mean, I'm one of those people that's very fortunate to have found a career in doing what I love. I recognized very early on in college, really, that writing could be, editing could be a tremendously flexible way to make a living and lead to a lot of personal freedom. And I'm kind of one of those people that's hooked on curiosity anyway. Like, I'm actually interested in everything. There's nothing that bores me. And so I have professional license to talk about all this stuff. And most of my career has been centered on the subject of water in one way or another. But there's a whole other side of my writing life. And it is a life. It's more a lifestyle than a job. I'm constantly taking in information and thinking about how that could be turned into some content that might interest someone. I'm always thinking about what people's needs are in terms of communication. Last several years, I have done most book editing has been part of it. I'm working on some things right now on book length projects with people. I've done a lot of website writing, I do a lot of ghost writing for blogs. I sort of am do the Cyrano de Bergerac thing with people where I'll write something on somebody's behalf and we work together. So there are a lot of aspects to it. I write poetry, I write fiction. I come from a family of writers. My dad is a best-selling novelist. My son is an amazing author himself. My daughter's a legal writer. And, you know, I mean, I have a nephew that's this great writer. It's part of the life that I've led and the family that I grew up in. So it's really a source of joy and fascination, frustration sometimes. But, you know, I don't remember all the stuff I've done at this point. You know, I'm going to be 60 years old. I've been writing since I graduated from college. So I probably should have done a better job keeping track.
Well, I think most of it was probably all written down and is in the journals somewhere. You know,
it's up there somewhere, you know.
It is.
I've always thought that the published work that I've done is the real record. You know, people say, do you keep notes and stuff like that? No, I don't really. I rely on what is presented to the public to stand on its own. And so, but it's all down out there. And, you know, if you go to watershapes.com, you're going to find hundreds upon hundreds of things that I've done with the help of a lot of really great people.
So you touched on it a little bit as some things that probably people are unaware of. I want to walk you back. Northern Orange County, you have two wonderful children who you put through college. Give us a quick update on those and Eric Herman's personal life, along with a new bride I think you've got in your life.
Well, I've been married to Diane for going on 10 years. I have two beautiful grown children, one granddaughter, children Brett and Amanda, who are just always been amazing. And so, yeah, I was talking about my family a little bit there. You know, I mean, I'm very, very lucky to always have had great people in my life. My mom and dad are still alive, doing very, very well. My dad's still writing. So, and we just recently moved from Washington State, lived there for several years, well, 4 years. And now I'm coming to you from Palm Springs, California. Diane and I moved back here about 6 weeks ago in the middle of a global pandemic, which was interesting. But we moved back here because of grandchildren. We have 3 grandchildren between her kids and my kids, you know, blended family. And there are 2 more on the way within just a few weeks. So we're going to have 5 grandkids. So we're back in Southern California to be close to our family and friends. And I am just happy and as lucky as can be. Looking forward to when, you know, things open up a bit and we get back out there and start doing what we do. But I really can't complain, you know, and it all comes down to the people that I've, you know, had in my life. And I'm very grateful.
Well, you know, as always, Eric, I mean, there's so many great stories and there's hundreds more to tell as I'm looking forward to getting forward. But what I'd like to wrap up with possibly today is putting you on the spot a little bit. I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I really want to see your vision for the overall outdoor living space industry through your crystal ball, because you are quite a bit of a visionary. And give us your aspect of what the writers should look for and what you'll be looking to cover in your magazine in the future to carry us on to this next evolution of where this industry is going in early 2020 as we regress into this brand new century.
Well, Randy, I got to be honest, everybody, my crystal ball predicting the future has been broken. Well, it's always been broken. I've never been a great prognosticator of things. Obviously what's going on right now with coronavirus and everybody, what is on everyone's mind. A number of the builders I've talked to recently have said that their phones are ringing off the hook, that people that can afford to either upgrade their backyard or put a brand new environment back there are seeing that as a priority now, and that's for understandable reasons. You know, if you think about what a swimming pool would mean to a family that's isolated, you know, you have your fun at home. That's huge. Well, I think that that's going to be a factor. How big a factor, you know, nobody knows at this point. It's funny, I'll share a little story with you. About 6 weeks ago, I was in the middle of packing up to move, and I get this call, and it's from our old buddy in the industry, Vance Gillette. And, you know, Vance has been in retirement for a while and one of the great figures ever in the history of the industry. And it's really great to be friends with him. And he called me up. He's like, Eric, I know what's going to happen. I said, everybody's going to want a pool because we're all stuck at home. And he was just on fire with this. And I'm like, you know, at the time I thought, oh man, you know, if it gets to that, everybody's going to be so broke, no one's going to be able to buy a pool. Well, as it turns out, it looks like old Vance was right yet again. I think that there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand, and I think there's going to be increased demand because people see the value of being able to enjoy themselves at home. And nothing enhances that ability more than a swimming pool. And you add in an outdoor kitchen and, you know, a well-organized space with different areas for different activities. And now you've got, you know, something of real value. It's not something you're just going to look at every once in a while. You know, these days people have an increased appreciation of the ability to have fun in their own space. So I think that's a driver. As far as the rest of it goes, you know, I don't know. I think people are discovering that there's a lot of fun to be had in their own walls. So I think it all kind of roads lead back to that. It all amounts to experience, to the positive experience that we all want to have. And when you have a beautiful outdoor environment with a pool or a spa or a water park, you know, it's going to be a source of enjoyment and happiness. And so that's what I think people will be gravitating towards, things that really make them happy. Maybe there's a little silver lining in all this thing that we've been through, that we might appreciate things a little more. I'd like to think so. And, you know, being able to be with your family and be proud of your surroundings and own something. I think those are the core values that are going to define the future, just as they really have the past.
Wow, what a great place to wrap today's session up and say that we are looking forward to many more chapters of Eric Herman as we progress through, and hopefully we'll get you back on this show to tell some more stories, because there's endless amounts of stories. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the #1 writer in the industry, the world famous Mr. Eric Herman. We're out of here. Ask the Masters is dedicated to educating, mentoring, and designing a better workplace for the swimming pool industry and their families. Please take a moment to share, like, and review our content with all of those that would be interested.